Hello, welcome to today's interview where I'm going to be interviewing ArinsMind. Say hello.
Hello.
Hi there. Can you introduce yourself for us, please, Aaron?
Hi, I'm Aaron. I go by ArinsMind, and I'm an animator on Newgrounds and YouTube. I started about 5 years ago, and I'm still going strong.
So, 2013 you started?
Just about. I guess 2010 is when I made a YouTube channel, but I didn't actually put time into it until about 5 years ago, I think. Just around when I started college.
So, 8 years ago, did you do animations or did you do something else?
Oh, I did animations. It just wasn't it's kind of me testing stuff, testing the water, just doing it for the hell of it. But after a while, I actually got the hang of it and wanted to, pursue it. But I guess that's for questions later. So I'll let you do the asking and get around to it.
Yeah, and did you start YouTube in 2010 or in 2013?
I started YouTube in 2010, but I had a channel before Aaron's Mind, and I didn't have a clear goal of what I wanted to do because I saw people doing a bunch of different stuff. So I just went ahead and decided to upload random voice clips, dubs of comics and other stuff. But eventually I bunkered down and thought that Flash animation was the best way for me to get my ideas out there. So I stuck with that.
I see. And why did you start YouTube? What got you into the idea of doing YouTube?
I've always just been, growing up watching cartoons and stuff, I've just always wanted to, make people laugh in any way possible. And I've been recording myself for a really long time with different audio programs, and I've been drawing for a long time. So eventually I just thought YouTube was a great way to get ideas out there. At first it was newgrounds.com, but eventually YouTube kind of took over for having a much larger audience. So I switched over to there, and I thought that uploading to YouTube was kind of therapeutic for me to just get the ideas out of my head and kind of out to the world. But it took quite a bit of time for me to find my happy place with it.
Have you had any channels before this one, or is this your first ever channel?
I've had a channel before this where it's really embarrassing, and I'm not going to say the name of it, but it was the game Spore, if you remember that game at all.
Yeah, I know that game, yeah.
They had a straight to YouTube feature, and so when I heard about that, I thought that I would just be a funny man making disgusting spore creatures. And so my channel before this was just solely for Spore. But then after I got bored of the game, I started uploading random stuff, and then I thought I should brand myself better than being the Spore guy, so then I made my Aaron's Mind channel.
And do you still have that channel up, or did you terminate it?
The email that I used for it was so flooded with spam from all these different MMOs that I played that I deleted the email. So I can't officially delete that channel, so it's floating in the void somewhere, and I hope it gets buried and is never discovered by anybody.
I see. Yeah, I think you're safe. I think no one plays Spore, honestly. When did you start drawing, Aaron?
Probably around the age of 4, when I could form words and properly hold a pencil, I guess. Since I could remember, I've just been drawing, and up until I guess the age of maybe 14 or 15 did I actually want to pursue it, and I put way more time into practicing anatomy and stuff, because before it was just, oh, I'm gonna doodle for fun, which is what a lot of people do. But then a lot of people say, I wish I was good at drawing. And so when I thought I wish I was good at drawing, I'm oh, I gotta take this more seriously. I gotta actually put in the hours and start practicing. And then eventually that led to me going to college for it, and here I am now. So I've pretty much been drawing my whole life, but I didn't really start getting serious about it until I guess 15, 16 years old.
You're 23 right now, right?
Yes.
So you've nearly been drawing for 20 years.
I say that's safe to say.
That's a pretty long time to, like something and do it.
Yeah.
Why did you start drawing, Aaron? Why do you think you got into drawing?
I think it's really just down to watching cartoons growing up. And at first I was just drawing because it was just something to do, and a lot of kids like to draw their families and their dogs and stuff. But after watching cartoons, I really wanted to make my own characters, my own stories. I even did a bunch of stuff where I drew my own characters into existing shows like Teen Titans and Billy and Mandy and stuff. So I really love the idea of just the world of cartoons and the world of characters existing and doing things that you couldn't do with live action. And so that really intrigued me to want to draw and eventually get to the point where I could make my own cartoons, which is where I'm at now, and hopefully scoring some thing with like Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon and getting an actual like TV aired show, but that's in the far future. But that's kind of the idea. The motivation was to think, whoa, maybe I could get my own cartoon if I start now. So
And how'd you go about learning how to draw? Did you watch tutorials or did you kind of like teach yourself?
starting off, I had some of those how to draw manga, how to draw cartoon books, which are not that super helpful if you don't know the right ones to get. So for a while, I didn't really have like a whole lot to do. I didn't have like the internet really for a while, so I mainly just looked at other people's art, looked at I know Prima guides for games. Like there was a Kingdom Hearts 2 Prima guide, and in the back they had like all the designs of the heartless and creatures and stuff, so I got those. I definitely drew a lot of Pokemon, and so I drew with a lot of my environment, like stuff that I could see. I could just like kind of copy and learn from that, and then eventually as I got more on the internet, I definitely looked up a lot of tutorials and started investing in like actual books that aren't just like how to draw manga, weird $5 books you find on discount.
I think I've actually had one of those books, like it was How to Draw Superheroes or something like that, and they're not helpful at all.
I know. So I mean, when you say that I've been drawing for like 20 years and stuff, like I always think to myself, what if I started earlier, like with better materials? Like, would I be a lot better now? Like, I've been doing this for 20 years and I'm still like struggling to do poses and anatomy and stuff like that.
Well, I thought you meant like earlier, as in the sense before the age of 4, and I'm like, how? How are you gonna do that?
Oh no. I mean, I wish I could do that. Maybe I'd improve my skills if I just started in the womb. Give me a pad and paper.
When did you start to get into
I
animation?
think I started to get into animation besides screwing around with post-it notes and doing like little stick figures, ripping each other's heads off and stuff. I got a Graphier tablet, which is like a very early version of like the digital tablets you see now. And it was this tiny thing, and I had a free trial of Toon Boom, which is actually really good now. It's called Toon Boom Harmony, but I had like a really early version of a tablet and a program. No idea what I was doing, but I really liked that I could start messing around with making animation, putting audio files in it, and just kind of making my own stuff, which I think it must have been like 13 or 14, because I really don't think I hit like my growth spurt, and that's how I remember how old I was. Like if I'm 15, I was like 6 foot, and if before that I was like 4 foot. I don't know, that's around like 13, 14 years old is when I discovered like animation programs, and then eventually I found my way to Flash, and I still use that today.
And why did you start animation? Is it because of the cartoons like you did with drawing, or did something else inspire you to do it?
I think the cartoons, because as much as I could draw and as much as I could do like comics and other things, I just found that like the voices of characters and all the visual stuff that comes with animation is what really sold it for me, and it was like the best way for me to approach getting my ideas out there. And so I guess wanting to animate just came from it being like the most possible medium for me to get all my ideas out there. And so far it's been very profitable for me. So I'm glad I took up that form, because I don't know what it would have been if I just did like comics or live action or anything else.
And how did you learn to animate? Did you watch tutorials? Did you read books? How'd you go about learning it?
Well, so first I ended up drawing just like by myself, messing around with a program that I got for free. But then I ended up taking a few classes at an art place nearby where I lived, and they had some like pencil, like proper with a light box, so you like put the paper on the light box, you see through it with pencil, like very old school. I watched a lot of tutorials online. Newgrounds is excellent for that because the community is very, very helpful and supportive of each other. So pretty much any problem that you have, you can just post it on the forums. So I got a lot of feedback there on how to do stuff. And then I guess going to college, which was 5 years ago, starting college, I'd studied traditional animation. So the entire 4 years I was doing traditional pencil animation, scanning every single piece of paper and drawing thousands and thousands of drawings. It was brutal, but I think it did help in the long run.
Right. So have you heard of the new monetization rules on YouTube, Aaron?
Yeah, I've been keeping up, trying to forget about it, but keeps coming back to haunt me.
Well, I guess they don't really affect you because you recently hit 100K, which, by the way, congrats on that.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. And, well, I mean, I'm sure you're well over 4,000 hours of watch time, but I could be wrong.
I think I'm in the clear for that for now, as long as I keep uploading.
What's your opinion on how YouTube treats animators, especially the smaller ones?
I just think that, like, I wouldn't say like just animators, because there are some people like College Humor, I guess off the top of my head, they do live action skits where they're not exactly vlogging, they're not like doing let's plays, they're like writing and making like skits. And sure, that's like easier to do and faster to do than animating, but it's still like content that has to be edited and like made and scripted and all that stuff. So I kind of lump it into the same category. But as far as how they treat that kind of content that like takes time to make, I don't super appreciate it. I kind of wish there were two branches of like, this is the kind of YouTube where you're gonna get a video every single day, 10 minutes of, I don't know, people like messing around, talking about their life, reviewing makeup, playing games, like those just everyday vloggy videos. And I kind of wish there was another option for people that want to upload things that they take time on, that are gonna be shorter, but, you know, more quality put into it, like animation. And so it's kind of, I don't really know, because they don't really talk about it, or if they even consider like animators. So I want to say that they like kind of treat them poorly, but I can totally see why they make the rules the way they are. But overall, I just think that they're not really paying attention to the people that have been doing this for a while, and they've been okay for a while, but now all of a sudden they have to like start, you know, releasing a bunch of smaller videos, longer videos, more schlock, I guess, just to keep up with it. And that's kind of what's bothering a lot of people, and me especially.
Right, yeah, I agree, but I guess it's to benefit bigger creators like yourself and others.
Yeah.
But I mean, we don't make money as is, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. That's such a shame, because like, I guess back when my first like video to hit 1 million was Dark Sauce Part 1, and that video alone, I could probably, like, just for the first like few months of its like popularity, I could probably afford this apartment. And now I've got like the 6 parts of the Dark Sauce series all within like the same amount of views, and now it's like not even like half of what I was making before. So just that I could visually see, and I was like actually impacted by the change in just getting the views, getting the feedback, versus how long was it. If it's 10 minutes, good. If it's not, then like you're really going to suffer.
Right, yeah, obviously longer videos favored by the algorithm more than shorter videos like what animators make.
So now I'm like, I've really got to, I guess maybe it's like a lesson, and it's a good skill to have to like time manage and stuff. But for me, I always consider like what can get me to at least 5 minutes. Like what can I sacrifice as far as like quality to get myself to 5 minutes. And I don't really mind too much if I can get like a good rhythm going on like making things and getting them out in time, because I guess time management's really important no matter what you do. It just kind of sucks that I can't take the time to really polish it over and make it like a love child of mine. Unfortunately, it has to come out like just as good as it can get before like I guess a month is over.
Right, yeah. So I was curious as to whether or not you voice every character in all of your animations.
Yes, except for a few. If you know Trusty Patches from episode 5 of Dark Sauce, he was voiced by my roommate in college. Guinevere was voiced by a friend in college. And on part 6, The Bed of Chaos was voiced by Joshua Tomar. Has been around on the internet for a while, but has recently just started getting a lot of more like serious roles. So that was pretty exciting to have him, because I've been a huge fan of him for a long time. And so the fact that he was like on board with being one of my cartoons, I was like, whoa. But for the most part, I do voice all the characters, and I try to practice voice acting and try to practice like making characters sound different as best I can, because I think, you know, eventually I'd like to be just a voice actor that other people might ask to be on their projects. So I try my best to just have my voice in all my work, because number one, it's easier than like, you know, asking people, giving them scripts, waiting for a response, if I can just like do it myself.
Right, you'll get it done faster.
Yeah, get it done faster and exercise my voice acting gland.
You made an animation on Cuphead, and I was curious as to whether you've played and beaten Cuphead yourself.
Yes. I don't know if it's impressive, but I beat it in 8 hours. I don't know what the normal time is.
I mean, that's pretty solid, 8 hours.
Yeah, so I played it. I was a little bit late to getting the game, but I played it, and I was just like stuck for like 2 days straight, just plowing through it as best I could. And I beat it a second time not too long ago, but I have yet to try like the harder difficulties. So I'm not like good at it, but I was good enough to beat it, and I really enjoyed the game. And that's when I thought of like, oh, I want to pay homage somehow because I just love the game for its everything, animation, music, gameplay. And so that's when I thought of making the parody of it.
So, which boss did you struggle the most with and the least with?
I struggled with the bee, whatever her name is. Her and the dragon, because the stage is scrolled, and so there'd be times where you just didn't have platforms in the right spots, and you were like relying on the randomness of platforms, and so that just like screwed me over so many times. So they probably gave me the most difficulty. Even like when I fought the final boss, I was having fun and was like able to be like, okay, I got it this time, and it didn't really feel like I had no chance of winning. But fighting the bee and the dragon was like complete loss of hope, like anger. It wasn't that feeling of, oh, I'll get it next time. It was literally just like, I'm so mad. I'm uninstalling. But the boss I had the easiest time with, I think I beat the mermaid on the first try, which a lot of people think that she's like the hardest, and I was like, oh god. And then I just got so lucky with like one heart left. I ended up beating her. So
No, but the mermaid was a bitch. She was hard.
yeah.
Yeah, well, for me, the one that I struggled the most with, honestly, would have to be probably the dragon, yeah. And the easiest one was the first boss, obviously, the root pack.
Oh yeah, my first boss, I did the little goo gob, little blue slime guy, and that was like me learning how to play the game while fighting him, and I died like 20 times right there. Like, I was streaming it too, so I was just like, oh, I'm making a fool of myself and dying to the first boss. But apparently, like, the little vegetables were the first official boss, I think, and they were a lot easier to deal with.
Yeah, you didn't play the tutorial?
Oh, I played the tutorial. I just went to the wrong spot as soon as I got to the world map. But the tutorial honestly took me about 6 hours to beat. Really difficult.
Yeah, I agree. It was hardest part of the whole game. So I was curious as to why there was such a large gap between the What If Undertale was a sitcom and Dark Sauce Part 6. There was like a gap of a bit over a year.
Yeah, there's usually big gaps in my cartoons just because of I made Dark Sauce 1 like by the end of my high school career, and then I think I made 2 in like the beginning of my college career. So I've always had like school getting in the way of stuff, and I'm terrible at like juggling tasks of like stuff I like to do, stuff I have to do, and having a social life. So when it came to school, I always just chose doing homework over my own videos, and so I would pretty much have a winter break and a summer to work on things. But when it came down to it, I was like, do I really want to be like grinding away animating when I've been doing that for like the entire college semester? I'd rather be like relaxing and not worrying about it. So school really put a damper on things, and as soon as I got out and finished my last semester in the spring of last year, I made Dark Sauce Part 6 in like less than 2 months, and then my JoJo video right after in a month. Right off the bat, I was like back in motion. I had momentum, and I made like 2 cartoons in way less time than it took for me to make like the next Dark Sauce after the Undertale video. And now I'm like halfway. Oh, just on my next video, I'm like halfway done. I think I should be done within the first like week of March, I think. But I'm very pleased with how fast I'm getting things done, because that Cuphead video took a month as well. So I'm just really happy I have no other school obligations to deal with, because I can just put all my time into cartoons again.
Right, you prioritized your school over your videos. Yeah, that makes sense. That's a fair reason as to why there'd be such a large gap.
It was brutal, because people were always like, where's the new episode? And I was like, I really want to work on it, but I have so much else on my plate right now. But I'm glad I finished it. I put an end to the saga, which I was kind of afraid I wouldn't end up doing, because I would just be so sick of it. But by the time I got back to it, it felt really refreshing. So I had like a new pair of eyes, and I just like really enjoyed making and finishing it. And I think it's like, I'd say it's my best work so far as animation quality, and it was 10 minutes, so I'm proud.
Why did you pick a Dark Souls to make a series out of? Do you just really like that game?
Yeah, when I first played it, it was like a month of trying to beat the Tauros Demon, and I just had other games to play, so I didn't really get super into it, and I was just kind of chipping away at it little by little, and then something just clicked, and I like beat the Tauros Demon out of nowhere. And then as I came back to it, I started not paying attention to any other games that I had, and I just put like a ton of hours into Dark Souls, and I reached like, I think on the first game on the 360, I had like over 300 hours in it. And so just all that time being spent on it, I was like, that should be my next parody. I should just make a Dark Souls parody, because it's fresh off my mind. I just like beat it for the first time. I'm going on New Game Plus, and when I made it, I realized how freaking long it was, and that's when I decided to split it up into parts because I wanted to include a lot of stuff. And so I cut it up into like 3 different parts, and then as the parts started to come to fruition, I split them up into more parts and added some extra jokes, took some jokes out, and kind of refined it. And so I guess it just kind of became a series for me just to see like how I improve with each episode, because it's nice to be able to see like the same characters over time as I get better. And I don't know, I guess it was just fun to have like a continuation, like an episodic thing. It made me feel like I was making a Saturday morning cartoon or something, but in Dark Souls.
So that's why there were 6 parts?
Yeah, it's just that I wanted to include a lot of stuff. People still nag in the comments saying that I forgot things, and of course there's just too much stuff to mention all of it, but I wanted to include a lot of stuff and have like a playlist to look at and say, wow, look how shitty the first episode looked, and look how much better I got by episode 3 and stuff like that. So it's nice to look back at, and I'm glad I did it.
So have you played all 3 Dark Souls games?
Yes, I played and beaten all 3 of them multiple times over. Oh yeah, and Bloodborne, I guess Bloodborne counts. I haven't beaten Demon Souls though. I played Demon Souls after Dark Souls, and it just kind of felt like a downgraded Dark Souls, so I never really got around to beating it. But yeah, Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, and Bloodborne. Can't say I love them all equally, but they're all great games, and I put a lot of hours into all of them.
Which would you say is your favorite?
I'd say just the first Dark Souls, just because of the feeling. I don't know if it's just like a nostalgia thing of playing it for the first time and discovering all of it, but the first one just really stuck with me. And Bloodborne, aesthetically, like with the story and with the way the game looks, just the art and everything for Bloodborne, I would choose over Dark Souls. But just the first like feeling of playing Dark Souls and all the memories is what makes me like the first one the best.
I've only played the 3rd one, so I wouldn't be able to say.
Well, going back probably would be painful, so I'd wait for the remaster, because the 3rd one like mechanically works so much better than the first one. That's why it's kind of hard to go back. But if you started off with the first, that's the only reason why I like the first one, is because it was the one I started with, and then everything else just kind of felt like an expansion past of the first one.
I don't have a Nintendo Switch, so sadly I wouldn't be able to buy the remaster.
Oh, but it's on like PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
Oh really? Oh, I thought it was only a Nintendo Switch exclusive.
Yeah, that would suck if it was a Switch exclusive, but I believe from what I saw on their site, the only downside to the Switch version is that it runs at 30 FPS while it runs at 60 for everything else. So if you want it to be portable, if you have a Switch, go for it, I guess. But I'm getting it PS4 probably because I don't have a Switch either.
Yeah, I'd like a Switch though. They've got some good exclusives.
Oh yeah, I pray every night before I go to bed that I'll get enough money to get one on the side.
Yeah, it's just on your knees praying. Yeah, I assume you're gonna purchase the Dark Souls remaster?
I'm debating it because I just feel like some games like kind of need to be like put to rest, and you gotta like, you know, pay your respects and leave it there as a fond memory. Because with Dark Sauce and everyone like screaming at me constantly to make more and to play it on stream and all this stuff, like I just got kind of really burnt out of it. Especially like the rapid fire Dark Souls 1, 2, Bloodborne, and 3, like because I spent so many hours on each, I like didn't have any time to rest before the next one came out, because I was like just finishing my New Game Plus 16 on Dark Souls 2 when Bloodborne came out, and I was like, oh my god. I don't know if I'll get it like immediately, but maybe if it goes on sale, I'll probably pick it up just to play Dark Souls 1 at 60 FPS, which has been a dream.
Alright, so last question I have for you here, Aaron, and then we can conclude it. So what new things and different things do you plan on doing this year with your channel?
So far, I just plan on releasing more cartoons back to back, so no more long gaps and hiatuses from me. I want to do an original at some point during the year. I have a story that I've been working on a pilot for, and I want to actually like pitch it to studios, but I thought of making it like a webisode for a web series and just try to make it as best as I can on my own, and, you know, put my characters to life and try to make a legitimate episode out of something, just to get it all out there. And then I guess, use it as portfolio for later. So more parodies of anime and games, and eventually get around to making an original with my characters and stories that I've been working on for a while. And yeah, I hope to maybe reach 200k before the year is over. That's like a little one milestone at a time, I guess.
Well, I wish you the best of luck with that, Aaron.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome, good sir.
Thank you for taking the time to ask me these questions and give me the chance to ramble on.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for coming on and agreeing to this.
No problem.
All right, then. Well, that concludes it. If you have enjoyed this interview, please do spam that like button. Consider subscribing. Share this interview with your family and friends. Leave a comment down below. I'll see you next one. Take care and goodbye.